We must take Lagos. Must. The people who want to keep it are fighting. We that want to take it must fight harder. The people who want to keep it are threatening. We that have to take it must prepare for that threat. There is no new thing they are going to do now in Lagos. We already know what they will do. Therefore, we must prepare in our large numbers to go to our polling unit. You must encourage your parents that came out before. You must tell your friends that don't have PVC, come and help me protect my parents. We are going to vote so that you will live in Lagos, so that I will live in Lagos, so that we can protect ourselves. Because if we do not take Lagos, I do not know if you can still stay in Lagos. To stay in Lagos, you have to win Lagos. It is that straight. To remain there, we must win. To remain there, to do that your business, for your parents to go to that church, for you to stay in that estate, to enter that bus, that Marua, you must win. It has come to that. Tinubu has brought the country to precipice. The only way is to defeat them so we can lock them up and send them to jail. The only way is to defeat them so we can put them in prison where they belong. We must. It is not a matter of, what you must fear is fear itself. That fear you have is what you should be afraid of. Because these people do not care whether you voted or not. They will attack you in your shop, in your house, on your street.
Yesterday, the chairman finally admitted that, yes, there were flaws, and his promises...
Really? This one wants to run for Lagos State? This nigga is high as fuck. He's high.
All right, so good day. So there it is. Good day. Good to see you. Good to have you here. and all of that. So the usual protocol, click on the like button as you're coming in, click on subscribe if you haven't done that already. And then if you want to come join us on the screen, you already know what to do. Bear with me. Let me just do a bit of administrative stuff here. If you want to join us on the screen, click on the hyperlink that says StreamYard, was what I was about to say to you. So let me put that hyperlink now in the comment section, so it's immediate to hand. So it'll be the first line then that you see. So if you want to come join us on the screen, click on this hyperlink that says StreamYard. It brings you into a studio space. As soon as I finish reading out the body of the talking points, I'll let you onto the screen and engage you in the conversation. So that's how it works. So click on like, click on subscribe, click on the hyperlink that says StreamYard. If you want to buy your host cups of coffee, click on that buy your host cups of coffee thing. So I'm rushing through it only so that we can get into the session fully. So do all that. So what we will be discussing today, a lot to do with the Lagos State elections that is up and coming. So in the next few minutes, I'll be presenting you a video clip of an interaction with Channels Television by the two opponents of the sitting governor space. So the essentially Jando and Chinedu. So we will hear them and hear how they present. Of course, we already know how Chinedu is presenting, but we'll see now how that opposition is and how potent it is. So we'll be watching a video clip and reacting to it in a moment. So we will be doing that. And also we will be doing a bit of tidying up as well. Commercial banks dispense old 500,000 naira notes to Nigerians amid silence from central bank. So the pronouncement from the CBN now, and no, not the pronouncement from the CBN, but the pronouncement from the Supreme Court, it looks as though off the back of that, banks have taken it upon themselves to act unilaterally. I'm saying they're acting unilaterally because they've not yet had directives from the central space, because I'm not aware that the central bank has directed that they should act in one way or the other, because the Supreme Court gave a judgment previously which the central bank via the federal government overrode. So, and that still subsists, of course, because the pronouncements of Buhari in that national broadcast, it still stands unwithdrawn. But then does the pronouncement of the central bank supersede the national broadcast that Buhari made? So that's where the question is. And it looks as though that answer is being given by the commercial banks, who, off the back of the Supreme Court pronouncement, have started dispensing the old Naira notes. Commercial banks dispense old 500,000 Naira notes to Nigerians amidst silence from central bank. So silence from central bank has Emefiele even done a runner, is the question. And now we are starting to look to the future, of course, because the president has been elected and the processes have started to work in an automaton sort of a way. So everything just sequencing towards a handover on the 29th of May. So we start to look to the future and we're looking in this direction. Orji, Uzo Kalu, Akpabio, Oshiomhole, Lawan make frontline contenders as race for 10th Senate president begins. So the Senate president now up in play again. But who are the likely names? So these are the four names. These are the foremost names. These are the front runner names that the bookmakers are saying are the favorites for that position at the moment. Very strong personalities, of course, but who best fits and where should that Senate seat go? So all of that up for discussion as well. Orji, Uzo Kalu, Akpabio, Oshiomhole, Lawan make frontline contenders as race for 10th Senate president begins. So we look at that as well. So we look at that and then we'll wrap the conversation very much around what is because this is something we want to start innovating into the space, because of course a lot of our panelists, they are political stalwarts in their own capacity. So so we're going to wrap a lot of the conversation around what has piqued the interest of our panelists as well. So it will not just be around agendas that I said. So we'll be bringing the panelists into play as well. And also, we might well be stopping at this one as well. Why I didn't oppose Obi or Tinubu, this is Wike as well. So this is Wike now trying to reposition himself and his politics. So we may well be touching base with that. And then INEC is also asking for a variation in the request to inspect their server by the two main losing parties. So quite what variation they are asking for and why they are asking for that variation, we look into that as well. So a rich and diverse menu, as always is the case. So lean back, kick back, take it easy, relax into it. The usual protocol, click on the like button, please, as you're coming in. Click on subscribe if you haven't done that already. I can already tell you that we're having what is shaping up to be an elite panel. So shaping up there to be another blockbuster session. So relax into it, lean back, kick back, and all that, click on like and subscribe is essentially what I'm trying to tell you to do. So click on like and subscribe and click on the hyperlink that says StreamYard if you want to come join us. And of course, your invitation to buy your host a cup of coffee, that always hangs around there as something to do. So do all that. And as you do all that, let me take a micro musical intermission. And then when we come back, we listen to the session with the Jando and Chinedu, and then we'll take it from there. But first, Veke guys.
Water, only water, only water, where they see ma. Water, only water, where they see ma. Hapa o naido. Hapa you don't come o. Hapa o naido. Oro kẹ̀kẹ́ ẹlẹ́mù yé o. Ilé sọ́dí àkẹ́kẹ́ ẹlẹ́mù ré o. Bobby Master kẹ̀kẹ́ ẹlẹ́mù ré o. Chief Wáìlà tí kẹ̀kẹ́ ẹlẹ́mù ré o. Eruku lẹ̀lẹ̀ ẹlẹ́mù dé. Eruku lẹ̀lẹ̀ ẹgbẹ́ ẹlẹ́mù dòde ojàre o. Eruku lẹ̀lẹ̀ Ghana ti dé ẹgbẹ́ bọ́dì o. Ọmọ ẹlẹ́yẹ ẹyẹ o ó dilé o. Odúyẹ̀lá ẹyẹ o ó dilé o. Petrosonama ẹyẹ o ó dilé o. Petrosodúnkẹ́ ẹyẹ rẹ̀ ó dilé o. Ẹlẹ́kọ̀ ọ̀run mú ìní o. Àkùkọ ọ̀run mẹ́kọ̀. Ikú kò ní rí wà gbéṣe o.
And there it is right there. Ikuku niriwa gbeshe, may death have nothing to do with us. So that's what that prayer means in Yoruba language. So let me kick it off with a few micro clips just to set the scene for the conversations to come. So now, as I said, INEC seeking a variation to the request by PDP and Labour Party to inspect their materials. So now let's not see what that variation is.
The Independent National Electoral Commission is asking the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal to vary the orders which was earlier granted the candidates of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, and Labour Party, Peter Obi, to inspect materials used for last presidential election. In a motion of notice filed, the electoral body is praying the court to vary the order which restrained it from tampering with materials used for the election. The commission said it needed to reconfigure the bimodal voter accreditation system for the next round of elections. Recall that the Court of Appeal in Abuja had granted the request of Obi and Atiku to have access to all the sensitive materials INEC deployed for the conduct of the presidential election held on 25th February. The applicants urged the court to compel INEC to allow them obtained documents in its custody that were used for that election.
So there it is. I'm not sure that anybody can quibble that too much. They need the same set of machines to carry out another set of election, and that is to say to dump and then reload for this next set of elections. So they have to tamper with it. They have to interact with their machines. Otherwise, the only other option is for the courts to hold the governorship election in abeyance until Peter Obi does his IT thing that he used to be a trader, now he's an IT expert. So it's either the court holds the election in abeyance or they let the INEC interact with their own machines. So that's the variation. And as soon as they let INEC interact with their own machine, then of course, whatever that interaction is whatever it is. So you see, it's like we always say, it will turn into a nonsense, and that is exactly what it's turning to. But this one that I'm going to bring you now, there's this guy called Dogara who killed 13 people in the course of the elections. Anyway, listen to it.
And the Federal High Court in Kano has granted the majority leader of the House of Representatives, Alassane Ado Doguwa, 500 million naira bail over suit for alleged culpable homicide and illegal possession of gun, as well as public disturbance. Mr. Doguwa was remanded in correctional facility by Senior Magistrate Ibrahim Mansour. Counsel to the accused Nureni Jimon applied for an ex parte order before Justice Mohammed Nasir Yunusa to grant the accused bail based on alleged infringement of his fundamental human rights and the absence of jurisdiction by the magistrate court that had remanded the accused. Justice Mohammed Nasir Yunusa, upon hearing the application, granted the bail with the condition that the suspect must provide two sureties, one of which shall be a first-class traditional ruler, while the other must be a permanent secretary at the Federal State Civil Service.
There it is. That guy, by the way, like I said, he killed about 13 people according to the records in the course of these elections. But then they're granting him bail. And you know, as soon as they grant you bail in Nigeria, they might as well just cut you free because you'll just be in perpetuity pushing that bail further down the line. But there it is. That's Nigeria as we know it, but hopefully we'll move away from it. If only Peter Obi had won, all of these things would have come to an end automatically. Or that was the belief that was fed us. So let me play you now this last clip. This is Sanwo Olu hustling hard to hold on. Sorry, actually, that's out of sequence. I downloaded this yesterday when somebody was asking what Sanwo Olu did during NSAS. So that's that. So let me give you just a couple of readouts that I do have, and then we'll go into the politics of it. At some point, we'll interact with a clip that Ajan Lekoko sent in. We'll also interact. We'll also interact with Yemson Wike as well. But let me give you the readout first, just to get that out of the way. So, commercial bank dispenses. Let me actually share. Commercial bank dispenses old 500,000 naira notes to Nigerians amid silence from central bank. Some commercial banks in Nigeria on Monday began dispensing the old 500 and 1,000 naira notes on Monday, correspondents gathered. A resident of Ilorin, Kwara State, confirmed to correspondents that the ATM machines of Guarantee Trust Bank at Umar Audu Road, opposite University Road Junction, Tanke GRA, paid him some old 1,000 naira notes. A banker who also spoke with correspondents corroborated this. He said some banks have started dispensing the old notes, but his bank had not got the go-ahead because of uncertainty surrounding the validity of the notes as legal tenders. in the country. So if I pause there for a moment, you remember that we've often insisted that those banknotes are still held in the vaults of commercial banks. So if you can imagine that 2 trillion naira has been wiped off the streets in Nigeria, I don't think the CBN has the capacity to store, just in terms of the quantity of it, the volume of it, 2 trillion naira. So they will be actually renting, because the commercial banks will not be storing those old monies pro bono. So the central bank would actually be renting the vaults of those commercial banks to hold those monies in situation until the processes of destruction can commence. So all of the old stocks of 1,500 naira notes largely still with commercial banks. But off the back now of this central, not central bank, but Supreme Court judgment, they've now started putting it back, some of them, into their ATM machines. So that's what's going on. But then, of course, as I said, we've not had pronouncement yet from MFLA. Correspondents also reported that no fewer than 3 banks in Abuja issued about 500. Correspondents also reported that no fewer than 3 banks in Abuja issued old 500 and 1,000 naira notes to customers in Abuja on Monday, while a bank in Kano also did same. Recall that the Nigerian Supreme Court had ordered that the old 500 and 1,000 naira notes phased out by the federal government be kept in circulation till December. But the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has yet to react to the Apex Bank's decision on the policy, which has subjected Nigerians to hardship in recent weeks. A 7-member panel of justices presided over by Justice Iyang Okoro ruled unanimously that President Mohamed Buhari's directive to the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, to redesign and withdraw old notes of 200, 500, and 1,000 naira notes without consulting the states, the Federal Executive Council, the National Council of State, and other stakeholders was unconstitutional. The Supreme Court observed that no reasonable notice was provided prior to the implementation of the policy as required by the CBN Act. So I wonder, somebody should be jailed for that, of course, but then, of course, Emefiele, probably the most likely, the betting is that that guy might well do jail time or just as soon as Buhari leaves situation. So there it is. There is that one. And then we come on to this one. Let's come on to this one. So we make this the last reader for the moment, and then we go to the panelist. Oji Uzokalu, Akpabio, Oshiomhole, Lawan make frontline contenders as race for 10th Senate President begins. Ahead of the inauguration of the 10th National Assembly in June this year, the race for the Senate President has begun. Correspondents report that Senator Adams Oshiomhole, so very quickly now, that now seems to be his reference. He's now Senator, I suppose he is now. They've got their certificate of return. Correspondent, pardon me. Let me play you music. Let me play you music for a moment. I need to clear my nose. Just bear with me 1 second. Let me play you a bit of music. I need to. Yeah, let me play you this one. Right, I wonder if we will get an updated version of that song. We should get it just for the jokes of it, just for the culture. Ahead of the inauguration of the 10th National Assembly in June this year, the race for the Senate President has begun. Correspondents report that Senator Adams Oshiomhole, Oji Uzokalu, Godswill Akpabio, Ahmed Lawan, David Umahi, and others have begun subtle campaigns for their emergence as the leader of the Red Chambers. The choice of Senate President will largely depend on the zoning formula of the ruling party APC. It is being speculated that the party may zone the Senate to the southeast as part of moves to pacify the Igbos. Let me scroll it down, if we will scroll down. Right. The choice of the Senate president will largely depend on the zoning formula of the ruling party APC. It is being speculated that the party may zone the Senate president to the southeast as part of moves to pacify the Igbos, having missed out in the presidential contest in all the parties at the time the clamor for a president from Igbo extraction was high. Senator Odikalu, who is a ranking senator, is tipped to be highly favored for the position if the party decides to pacify the Southeast. It is also being speculated that the party may zone the seat to the Northeast as a way of appreciating the region for its immense contribution towards the emergence of Tinubu as president. It is also being speculated that if the party decides to look the way of the South-South region, Senator Adams Oshiomhole and Godswill Akpabio are strong contenders for the exalted seat. It is also believed that the party may go for a Christian as Senate president. I think it's almost a certainty that a Christian must be, because in the hierarchy of things, the president, the first citizen, the vice president, the second citizen, the Senate president, the third citizen, and then the House of Rep, the fourth citizen. So you cannot now have president Muslim, vice Muslim, and then put a Muslim. I think religion already narrows the choice, I suspect. It is also believed that the party might go for a Christian as Senate president, since the chairman of the party, the president-elect and vice president are Muslims. The INEC chairman, Mahmoud Yakubu, over the weekend disclosed at a meeting with the resident electoral commissioners in Abuja that the senator-elects will receive their certificate of returns on Tuesday, while their House of Representative counterparts will get theirs on Wednesday. According to the INEC chair, the All Progressive Congress, so this should be interesting. So we have to make note of this to see the sort of governance that might be afforded to Tinubu. According to the INEC chairman, the All Progressive Congress won 57 senatorial seats. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, won 29. The Labour Party got 6, whilst the New Nigeria People's Party and Social Democratic Party got 2 each. So that tells you then, of course, there's not sufficient enough amongst the opposition to overturn the will of the ruling party, because even if you add up all of their numbers, it's not anywhere near the ruling party. So an overwhelming control of the House. So according to the INEC chair, the All Progressive Congress won 57 senatorial seats. The People's Democratic Party won 29. The Labour Party got 6, whilst the New Nigeria People's Party and Social Democratic Party got 2 each. On the other hand, the All Progressive Grand Alliance and the Young Progressive Party got 1 seat each. And by the way, a lot of speculation that those Labour Party elements that are purporting to be senators will soon find new homes. I suspect that they'll find new homes before the end of the year, almost certainly with the ruling party. In the House of Representatives, the APC garnered 162 from the 366. PDP got 102, Labour Party 34, NNPP 18, APGA 4, SDP and ADC got 2 each, whilst YPP got 1 seat. So, of course, infamously, the Okada rider, there's also a narrative that I wanted to bring you yesterday, but I never got around to bringing it. There was a guy that just bought a Labour Party ticket just for the jokes of it. But his plan was actually to Japa, and this was in Edo, that sort of Edo area. So his plan was to Japa. So he never even did any campaigning until somebody knocked on his door and told him that he was now a House of Rep member. And that was the election that was. So that was how the elections went. So we'll listen to Jandor and Chinedu in a moment, but I've kept my panelists waiting long enough. Here it is, the A list. Moses joins us. So good to see you, Moses. Sonny joins us, now championing the Shore cause. Desmond joins us, probably still in Nigeria. Rational Mind joins us, warning us to beware of the spinners. Adale Koko, the mighty one, joins us. Posh Collins in the house, and Thomas makes up the list. So there it is. I did promise you an elite panel, and they don't get more elite than what is on your screen. So let's kick it off then with Posh Collins, if he's ready to go. Collins, are you ready?
Yeah, thanks for choosing me because I really want to go to bed early as well.
I know. What kind of that? So to it then, and let's kick it off actually with the last space that we came in from, the last space, the Senate President. Where do you see it going? Where do you see the Senate presidency going?
To be honest, I don't care. They're probably going to give it to Jose Okada, but I really don't care. That one wouldn't. He will not be able to represent anybody well. It doesn't matter. As a Nigeria, Jose Okada as the personal president will be at a loss. But I would imagine that he probably gets it, but I really don't care, to be honest.
I'm not far from you in thought in that, because I'm not sure if you saw that clip that went viral when Odius Okalo took Tinubu to his home and Tinubu was prostrating for his mom. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
I suspect it might not be far from him. But do you even think it will go to the southeast in the first instance? Is the thing, because a lot of people are saying it will go to the north. Is it northeast or northwest? As a thank you for where do you think he should morally go? The Senate presidency.
You should have asked me where I think that the president should morally go.
No, that's gone now. But
to be honest, I don't care. I don't care. I mean, if we're doing this thing, let's do it Nigerian. Let's the best man win. I wouldn't care. I'm not a politician, so it wouldn't really make any difference anyway. So does it really even matter? The only person it matters.
Well, it does, because we had two houses under Buhari. We had one that was led by Saraki, who's stymied a lot of things, especially that Ruga plan. He was the one that made sure it did not come to fruition. And we had this one with Ahmed Lawan, who rubber stamped everything, and we saw how that went. They were just handing out money and just acting wild. So we need a strong Senate president to counterbalance the...
Yeah, funny enough, I think that is what we are going to have this time around. I mean, if
another rubber stamp.
Yeah, if the four people that you mentioned is anything to go by, I mean, Saraki might be corrupt and every other thing, but the man is smart, so Jose Okada is just a politician without brain. Lawan is in the same category. Who just won? These people just won. I don't know. One man, you know what? Yeah, I don't really care. Whoever gets it. It will be a loss for Nigeria. That senior president.
Are you deflated? Are you deflated by the election? Is that what I'm hearing in your voice?
What is there is that we are not going to have any strong intellectual occupy in that space. Going by what? Except, of course, if they throw it open. I don't even know who these senators are. I don't even know who I would be like. I can look like, apart from the names that you mentioned, I don't even know who I can be like, okay, if they give it to this person, not mind the word that person, I don't know them. I just think that they're a bunch of useless people. But you are right to have pointed out that Saraki, in all of his or whatever, when he got to that seat, he stopped Buhari, he kept Buhari in check and everything. But some people might also say that didn't end well with him, and that is probably a lesson for most of them not to even to that part because Nigerian president is very powerful.
But in terms of religion, do you think religion limits the choice that can be made? Because as was being highlighted in that piece, the president are Muslim, the vice president are Muslim, and those are the first two citizens. So just for the equity of it, you cannot then have the third citizen also a Muslim. So do you think religion limits the choice to at least a Christian, and then that then limits it to the south?
Woman, you know that I'm trying so hard not to step into this selecting what we tend to what we there's no equity. There's already a vice president that is Muslim. There's already a president that is Muslim, party chairman where is the equity? The vice president? Come on. They might as well give it to another Muslim.
Oh, okay. You sound as though you are giving up, but you are more Nigerian than anyone else. So I know that you enjoy that country. So you have to fight for it now. Where is the fight? Call it.
And no, the thing about it is that irrespective of who the Senate president becomes, I do think that hopefully I'm hopeful that Tinubu, if everything goes according to his plan, because there are cases and every other thing. If everything goes according to his plan, if he wants to deliver for Nigeria, he will deliver, regardless of who the president is. I really don't want to. I don't want to go into that space of he's a Muslim because the harm is already done. It was done from the beginning. So there's nothing that will balance it out. All this tokenism, I'm never really a fan of. You do things and you just come and
But it's not tokenism though, it's balancing of power, isn't it?
Is it really? How does that balance it though? I don't see the balancing in that.
Because in whatever unfortunate circumstances that leads to the demise of Shetima and Tinubu, then the Senate president becomes automatically the president.
That Shetima man is going nowhere, bro. Did you look at his face? That man is.
I enjoy that guy. I don't know why people. I like the sharpness of his brain. I really like the guy.
That man is going nowhere. His face scares me to bits. That man is going nowhere.
That's when you can see it. He's always hiding behind dark glasses. A bit like Abacha,
Yeah, he's going nowhere. Nothing is killing him, not yet. I am not. In terms of but yeah, who even wants to become for a third man to become president in Nigeria? I think that's really a long shot. If anybody is thinking that they will get to power through becoming a Senate president, that person is a dreamer. Really, 4 years is not such a long time. That two people, two of those people will just die like that. But I'm not saying that it's not possible, but it's not very, the probability is quite low. So yeah, I really don't care.
All right, I can see you don't want to be drawn on that. So let me take you to a different space then. The confusion that is the Naira policy. Commercial banks dispense 500,000 Naira notes to Nigerians amid silence from the central bank. So now, is this a case that the law retains its supremacy? Or should it be a case then that the banks should wait for the central bank to give the final directive? Because we had instructions from the Supreme Court previously, which was overridden by the federal government. And what guides the financial space was that overriding by the federal government. So we've now had a subsequent pronouncement by the Supreme Court, a further pronouncement, but we've not yet heard a directional announcement by the central space. But the banks are dispensing with the money. Are they moving too quickly? Who is breaking the law? Or are they just about... unpick that space for us, because it confuses me somewhat, Collins.
Well, if the banks decide to be giving this money out now, they will be breaking the law, because the Supreme Court is ruling out. They're not in charge of our monetary policy. I think Nigeria is the only country where we do things backwards. But to their defense, though, My sister, I think the week of that election, my sister in Enugu, she went to withdraw some money. Apparently, she saw an ATM machine that nobody was in, and she went and she put her card and she withdrew 20,000, and it was old naira. No, she couldn't forgive herself about that. So, because I remember having that conversation with her, I was like, why wouldn't they take those money off the system, knowing that people will collect it and not being able to spend it? So I'm saying this to say that it is possible that somebody just like my sister did went to an ATM machine that one person probably drew from and ran away from. A lot of people probably got a win that is old naira and ran away from. And this time around, they got it and they just feel like I feel like this money will come out from the politicians that are holding it. I really don't think that bank will just take the money and put back in there, except if CBN have already given them directive without making it public. But their boss is the MFLA. That's how it should be.
All right. Are you anticipating that they would not release that naira until after the governorship elections, after all of the cycles has been completed?
They might, because Nigeria is a country where they just do anything they want, but it doesn't look good for us though. Economically planning, I mean, if someone is looking into investing in Nigeria, it doesn't really speak well. It's a bit funny if I'm an investor looking into, because it's like, who actually makes certain policy, who can say, you see, but like, okay, let me borrow from the guys from Arise. Are they going to also step in someday and tell us about how to put our interest rate and stuff like that? It's just funny. I just feel like they drag CBN to where, and I don't think that they really should have given any other ruling from what they've done, because people are really suffering. People are suffering. It was the other day that a copper that was staying in my uncompleted building or wherever, that was telling me there was this Hausa woman, the gate woman. They went back to the north, but for some reason she came back, and I told them we had already pulled down the security house where she was. So I was asking the copper guy, where is the woman staying? She said that she sleeps under the stairs and stuff like that. But after I told her that I told the people that opened the gate for her that they really shouldn't have. But then what she used to sell before she went to the north, now what I heard is that she will carry it and go out and nobody buys. She'll come back, and she came back with a child, a little child. She carries and goes about, and the ones that she sells, they're all buying on credit without anybody giving her a penny. So when you now start getting these
And
stories,
but Buhari has destroyed trade anyway, because I suspect, like me, you are getting increasing amounts of phone calls from Nigeria with stories of lamentation. So it's just it's ungodly what that guy's done.
yeah.